Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. Glen West, senior writer, Go 24/7 with us every single Tuesday. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Glenn, how we doing?
I'm doing okay, Hunt. How about yourself?
Doing all right. I know you're battling some voice issues, so we appreciate you jumping aboard here and chatting with us. Were you surprised at how thoroughly LSU dominated on Saturday?
I was. I mean, I thought that this would probably be another one of those kind of, running out kind of games where they really had to be physical and just kind of slog their way into a win. You think just watching this team the last 5-6 weeks, they've been in a lot of these tight games, a lot of these close SEC games, but I came away from that game just so impressed by this defense. I mean, they really clamped down when they needed to. They really kind of kept, I think, this thing from potentially getting out of control. I thought that Arkansas did a nice job of driving down the field a couple times on them, but they held them to field goal attempts. They didn't allow them to get in the end zone. And then in the second half, I thought they just completely showed their will in that second half, starting with Weeks' play. Don't know that there's been a play this year that has kind of completely flipped the game around so quickly. But I mean, in a matter of like 10, 20 seconds, I mean, it was like, all right, Arkansas's got a chance to go down to drive. Oh wait, no, they're down by 2 scores now, and it's pretty much curtains from there. So really impressed with the defensive effort. I thought offensively it was great to kind of get you going with the run game. I thought Caden Durham ran the ball hard, had 21 carries. I think you're going to see a lot more of him going forward, and I thought he really answered the bell. Still not being 100% from what Brian Kelly has told us, so very impressive performance from the true freshman, and just an overall really spectacular night for LSU to kind of get out of there with a win and do it so convincingly.
Defensively, on the defensive line, we don't call a lot of defensive tackles names. Do you feel like they're getting quality play from the defensive tackle spot?
I do. I mean, I think that they're doing a nice job getting some push up there. I think Gio Paez has certainly shown that he can handle with the big boys in the SEC. We've seen Ahmad Bro get in there. Dominic McKinley played, I think, 7 or 8 snaps, and JVR Suggs has been in there. So I think that they've done a good job of maybe allowing, of kind of filling those holes so that the linebackers behind them can kind of really come up and finish the job. And I think that's been really the improvement you've seen the last couple of weeks. They've been tackling much better at the line of scrimmage. I think Whit Weeks and Greg Penn have done a phenomenal job of filling those run gaps and doing their part and kind of slowing the run games down some. So it starts up front with the defensive tackles kind of being physical, and then it's on the linebackers to kind of come from behind and helps kind of finish off those plays. And I think they've been really working in unison these last couple of weeks and done a really nice job.
How do you feel about the way the corners have played?
I think they're playing better. I think now that you have Zy Alexander back in there and you got him opposite of Ashton Stamps, I think that's kind of your 1-2 punch there. I can't recall if they subbed anybody in at cornerback last weekend. I mean, maybe there were a couple snaps where there was a P.J. Woodland sighting or J.K. Johnson here and there, but those two I think have held up pretty well. Look, I think probably the biggest deficiency they had in the first half of the Arkansas game was they just allowed so many plays in the middle of the field to get open. I mean, the receivers were wide open in the middle of the field, and I thought they really shored that up in the second half. Linebackers and cornerbacks and safeties really working hard and in unison. And I thought really the play that kind of got this secondary into it a little bit more was that big hit that Sage Ryan had. I thought that that the defense really kind of found some energy and some extra fuel there after that big hit. And it was one of those hits, man, where you look back at some of the old LSU defenses of old and think, man, that's exactly how Jamal Adams used to hit guys, or Eric Reed, or Tyrann Matthews. So I think they're starting to really buy in with this coaching staff, showing some confidence and building on their momentum that they've been able to accumulate over the last couple of weeks.
I struggle with how to ask this question, but I what's the expectation for this LSU football season? Like, what's realistic?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Atlanta is realistic right now. I know that's probably being a little bit of a homer in terms of just watching this team the last couple of weeks, but they've just been able to win in so many different ways now. I think they've learned how to win these close games where maybe they're not playing at their best. They've obviously shown that they can play a little bit more consistently for 4 quarters in that Arkansas game. But I think I go back to what I said a couple of weeks ago. I think I said it on your show and a couple others that I did. But these 2 games between Arkansas and A&M were really going to tell us a lot about this team. They got one leg of that done. They've got to go into College Station in another really hostile environment. That crowd's going to be really into it. I think it's a A&M team that's really been kind of ahead of the game or ahead of its own pace here after 7 weeks of their first year under Mike Elko. So it's going to be extremely important for LSU to come out focused and kind of not have those self-inflicted mistakes that they've been prone to here at times. And so this is still not a flawless team. This is a team that has, several deficiencies in it. But I think you can make that case for pretty much every other team in the SEC this year. I mean, every team has shown some weaknesses throughout the course of the season, and LSU is sitting here at the top of the conference, halfway through the season. So I think if you're Brian Kelly, if you're LSU and these players, you take that 10 times out of 10 and you try to continue to work on some of your weaknesses and see if you can't try to make another, kind of second half push here towards an SEC championship appearance and potentially a playoff spot.
You mentioned it's not a flawless team. There are some issues. What issue concerns you the most entering this game against Texas A&M?
Yeah, I think it's probably the penalties, the offensive line, the offense as a whole. I mean, that really was a concern for me last weekend watching that game. I mean, the offense had a chance to really put that game away earlier than they did. So many self-inflicted mistakes stalled out those offensive drives. I don't think you can do that again this weekend and expect it to be as clean of a blowout against a really, I think, strong, stout Texas A&M defense. So, this is going to be an important game for the mentality of this team in terms of offensively not making those mistakes, getting off the field on third down on defense, which they've done a much better job of. But I think for me, it's cleaning up those penalties. That was you could chalk it up to an aberration, but this has been a very heavily penalized group for most of the season, and it's cost them at times. It's cost them from I think having a little bit of a better offense than what they've shown in the stats. So if they can clean those up, continue to move the ball with Nussmeier, stay mistake free. I thought that was really important for Nussmeier not to have any turnovers in this last game. So kind of continue to build on that and eliminate the mistakes. And I think LSU should be able to get out of there with a win.
Yeah, that's my next question. I mean, do you think they win? You mentioned turnovers. I can't help but think that because these 2 quarterbacks have turned it over a good amount this year when they've been out there. Nussmeier did not this past weekend. Obviously, Wigman did. Do you think LSU gets out of there with a win?
I do. I mean, I think you got to ride what's been working for them, and I think they've found a little bit more balance between the run and the pass this last weekend at Arkansas. We'll see if they can build on it. But I really like this matchup for LSU from a defensive perspective. I think it's crazy to think, but we're sitting here now 7 weeks in, and we think that the defense can actually be a reason that LSU wins, a really close game on the road. But I'm not very blown away by A&M's passing offense. I think if you can shut down the run with Le'Veon Moss and keep those guys in check, I think you can get them off the field and then continue to do your thing on offense, which is moving between the chains, chewing up time of possession, chewing up the clock, and then scoring and converting in the red zone when you have those opportunities.
He is Glen West, senior writer, Go 24/7, all your team coverage, football, basketball, baseball, as well as recruiting. They got you covered at Go 24/7. Glen, get some rest. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Hunt. Appreciate it.
Always enjoy our conversations with Glen. He thinks they go in there and win. We'll see. I was perusing the Texags message boards today, just kind of get a vibe check on how they feel. They got a prediction thread up. It's only like 70% projected wins, but you get into those like projection threads. It's usually like 95, 98%, and there are plenty that are predicting that A&M does not get the win this weekend, and most of that lays at Connor Wigman's feet.
Yeah, that's probably part of it, and I think also the fact that LSU has just looked a lot better the last 2 games they played. They looked incredible, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you take those penalties out he was talking about, and then the Nussmeier turnovers against Ole Miss. It's been pretty good. They're gonna have to play really well to win the game. We'll certainly talk about it as the week moves forward. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.